Hey everyone, I wanted to make a brief video on some tips on doing some small scale experiments on kombucha. What I'm testing here is chitosan on kombucha. So chitosan is deacetylated chitin, I believe, and it's sold as a fat loss supplement. So it's perfectly safe for consumption. And based on my research, it may be able to reduce alcohol content in kombucha. So you can see I have these 50 milliliter test tubes. So you can get a pack of 100 of these on Amazon or I think it's a pack of 50 for $20 or something like that. They come out to about 50 cents per test tube. A few notes on my notes is to take some notes. So make sure you're taking notes of what you do so that you can repeat the experiments in case you find something really interesting. Make sure you always label and date all of your experiments because you will forget what's in them, especially since you're going to be fermenting these for 1 or 2 weeks. So you can see I did different concentrations of chitosan, so 0 grams per liter, 0.1, and so on, up to 2 grams per liter. And this information is based on a previous experiment that I did. So because I kept good notes on the previous experiment and because I labeled my previous experiment, I was able to narrow down the range of concentrations for chitosan to potentially reduce alcohol content. So when you're actually doing the experiment, make sure you do proper dilutions. If you're working with concentrations, make sure you're using equipment that is accurate. So for example, these test tubes, even though they have graduation lines, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are meant to be used for measuring. These are just an approximation. So make sure you're using things like pipettes and graduated cylinders and accurate scales to measure whatever you're working with. For these small-scale kombucha experiments specifically, I like to use this tape right here. This is called Micropore Tape, I believe. I think a pack of 2 on Amazon is maybe $7, something like that. So you can see it's very sticky, so it sticks to the lid even if they're a little bit wet, and it's permeable to air so that your kombucha can breathe while it's fermenting. Really cheap, really easy to use. You could also use a bit of cloth and a rubber band if you have one, but this is really nice because it's sort of easy and disposable when you're done. Another thing to consider with doing experiments in these tubes is the ratio of surface area to volume. So in most fermenters, you have a fairly large surface area relative to the volume, at least in comparison to these. And if you're trying to reduce alcohol content, especially, a lot of people will recommend using a large surface area to volume ratio, so larger surface area than the volume when you're trying to reduce alcohol content. So using these tubes may have the inverse effect, but as long as you're comparing your experiments between each sample, then you should get results that give you an idea of conclusions on your hypothesis. So that was just a quick video to demonstrate the experimental methods that I use for testing different things in kombucha. Hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.